So when you install OBS using these instructions that I provided here inside the container on Ubuntu, when you launch it, you're going to get an error that looks something like this. The interface version is going to be older than the expected version, and the AMF encoder won't show in the encoder settings. But if you get the firmware and the AMD drivers to be in sync with each other, then that issue goes away and you can use the AMF encoder like I'm doing right now. So to do that, you're going to want to first check what your firmware is or firmware version is. Can see the maybe you can't see here. Put the font up a bit. It's probably legible. So you can see that the installed version is from around this date, March 23rd, 2023. So we're going to want the packages inside the container to be around that date or slightly before that date. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create let's see, I'm going to name this one old because we're going to hold back the packages on it to keep everything on it older. So we're going to create a container, an Arch container, and then we're going to hold back the packages on the container. Okay, let's enter the container. Once we've entered the container, we're going to use the instructions here to hold the packages back to a specific date. And then we're going to install the AMF OBS from AUR. So now that we're inside the container, I get Vim to edit the appropriate files. So it says here that we can edit this file. Let's see, it says we can edit this file, change the server, and we should also temporarily disable the signature checking, or you can do these. I'm just going to disable the signature checking. And I'm also going to enable multilib, just in case. It might be useful later on if you try to install some kind of OBS plugins or whatever. So we'll go with enabling multilib first. Gonna include it under community here. And then while we're in here, I'm just gonna go back here and do the disabling the signature checking. We'll re-enable it pretty soon after. So it says comment these two out and add this line. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Right here, this one's already commented out. So I'm going to comment this one out, and add this, save it. Then next, we're going to go ahead and change the mirror list to the appropriate date that we want to hold the packages back for. So get in here, comment these out. And we'll add see, we need archive. So what was the date? It's March 23rd. That should do the job. Then we're gonna save it. And then update the database, or yeah, we're gonna force the downgrade now by using this command. Like it mentions here. Proceed. Yes, proceed. Okay, now that that's done, let's see. We're gonna want to get these packages so we can get the appropriate OBS and the AMD GPU driver, which will be that's the main thing you want to keep in sync with your Linux firmware. So we install these. Oh yeah, let me go back and change this back. We only needed this temporarily. Yeah, see, temporarily disable signature checking. We're done with it. Oops. Let's see. Save and exit. Then go move to the containers home. Gonna go ahead and download. We'll install the drivers first. So clone it here. Now these AUR packages don't get held back with the method we just used, so we're gonna have to do it manually. So go into the folder and we're gonna look at the log to see what the last commit was that matches, or that's as close to March 23rd as possible. This is April. We want to be before March 23rd preferably, so I'll go with this commit. So we're gonna check this commit out. Hit check out. and then gonna make the package. Okay, then let's see which version we have installed. So 22.4, that should be good. Then we go back and we're gonna want to get OBS as well. We're gonna do the same thing here. Let's see, March 11th. That'll do. So we're gonna take this one. And then we're gonna install it as well. This one's gonna probably take a little bit of time to compile. Yay, it's finally done. Alright, so you install it and then can run it. Yes, launch anyway. Whatever, close. And now we should have these encoders available, and we do. You can see if something goes wrong, you can see it right here. It'll say something about version mismatch. This isn't the one that's causing an issue. It's where is it? It'll show something like this. So the encode interface version will be different. So the upside to doing it this way is that nothing is going to break on your main system. If anything breaks, it'll be inside the container. And you can use the AMF drivers inside the containers and then the Mesa drivers outside for gaming or whatever else. And then what the downside is actually that you will have to manually keep your firmware and the AMF drivers inside the container in sync. So if you update your system and this firmware gets updated, it may or may not break OBS. So if it does, then you'll have to come back in here and come back into the container and update it probably. So you'll probably have to update all the packages to that specific date that it'll show here. And this method will probably also work on some of the other distributions, Debian-based distributions like Linux Mint or Pop! OS. And it should, I'm not sure about this. It might also work on OpenSUSE Leap. But you don't need to do all this if you're on Fedora, Tumbleweed, or Arch. You can just install it normally through any AUR helpers. You don't have to hold packages back. And it should work fine inside the container. So yeah, that's how you can get your AMF encoders for OBS.